This was a rivalry created from a misunderstanding. However, it was also a gateway into learning more about the relationship between Asana and Tiger. Overall, this story was linking to the past that was both passionate and cute. Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and today let's talk about all things episode 48 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens anime series. An episode that explains how both Asana and Tiger became friends, and what transpired in making Tiger's hatred target towards her once best friend on that snowy, fateful day. So taking a look at the episode in general, I thought there was a rather enjoyable episode, and I liked the way that things link to previous stories that we've learned throughout this series so far already. All of the character interactions and revelations revealed I thought were exciting, and I can't wait to see how some of those actually unfold moving forward within the series. Well, maybe everything except from Goha 66. They were again a disappointment and just a bit of comic relief, which they're now kind of, being presented in that light. Which is kind of disappointing because I did have high hopes when they first got introduced. But nevertheless, let's move on and focus about the two female characters of today's focus, Tiger and Asana. It's clear that these two are really best of friends, having that mutual respect for each other, despite Tiger having some ill feelings targeted towards Asana, as well as them having nicknames between the two. This all helps at there being a connection between the two female characters before this episode even began. But it's here in this very episode that we learn how they first met. Asana was mesmerized by Tiger's martial arts skills, while Tiger found herself being attracted to Asana's cute charm. This first introduction, though, did raise a question in my mind. Does the Mutaba family know Rook and Tiger's family before the events transpired within this episode? As Asana's grandfather seemed to have prior knowledge about Tiger before Asana went to meet her. Now it is safe to say, though, throughout the time they spent together playing games and just interacting, they clearly created a bond of friendship and a high level of trust between them. This is clear from the fact that a young Asana managed to reassure a sad young Tiger that everything would be fine when Rook went missing. Tiger within that scene was clearly upset about her dumb brother going missing, and possibly scared also of being on her own when searching for him, just in case she got lost herself when the topic of going to search separately came up in conversation. So this reassurance from Asana towards Tiger was very meaningful to Tiger's kind of inner feelings. Taking that into account is really understandable as why Tiger felt betrayed when she saw that Asana gave this speech to her, reassured her that everything would be okay because they're both out looking, and then found out that Asana went home, leaving her on her own to search. However, like I mentioned before though, this was a complete misunderstanding, as Asana was trying to help. She wanted to help, but upon helping, she found Chevelle and Dovrap trapped under a rubble of snow. Once learning of Rook's safety being the fact that Rook had been found, the best thing that Asana thought to do was to take a weakened Chevelle and the bird to a hospital, which is the most logical and understandable correct choice to do in this particular situation. It's a classic case of both characters being in the wrong after the situation unfolded. Asana felt like she had done something bad. She felt like if she was to explain her situation or her story, it would be making excuses. Asana felt like she had betrayed the trust in her friend Tiger, and Tiger is in the wrong simply for not asking and just jumping to conclusions, creating a hatred out of something she did not have all of the information about. Overall though, I really did like this backstory, as it was very wholesome, and the actions taken by the two female characters at a very young age was somewhat realistic, considering they are young children. The only thing that I did not like from this whole backstory though was the Chevelle and Dovrap kind of adoption by pigeons. situation and story development character thing being introduced. I thought that was a bit of comedic relief that didn't really need to be there. Like, okay, Chevelle has parents. That's all we needed to know. We didn't know that they were all pigeons. Yeah, didn't really do much for me. However, while on the subject of Chevelle, I did really like him stepping in, as it shows great courage in standing up to Tiger. So that was really great character development / a moment for him. But seriously, a delivery company ran by birds that adopted Chevelle, sorry, but even for Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, that's a little bit weird for me. As for the duel, I really did like the intensity that Tiger delivered within this episode. The voice acting was on point, and it made the whole segment of the duel, where Tiger was bringing that intensity, bringing the anger, heat and rage, it made it all the more enjoyable to watch. Asana, knowing the truth and her own feelings, she just kind of accepted things and went along with it. Maybe a little bit too easy in my opinion, but it was only the early stages of the duel. Once the dust settled and everything was cleared up, it got a little bit more enjoyable as the two started to have a lot of fun. But Asana'S New Ace Monster, I'm not really a fan of, honestly. I don't like her other ace, I just don't like the designs. But this new ace monster reminded me of Barrel Sword Dragon that Revolver used, except it kind of looked like a fake budget knockoff version of it. Yeah, it just didn't do much for me. And the orange colour scheme, I like orange, but no. Please don't introduce that monster again in the future. Not really a fan. Nevertheless though, one great thing from the present day Tiger was seemingly her acting shy about the backstory. I thought this was a very cute and adorable moment from Tiger's character that we don't get to see much from her personality. She seemed almost embarrassed about the information that Asana was bringing forth before actually getting to the Snowy Scene story at topic. She obviously didn't want people knowing about how they first met and how much fun they were having and what games they were playing when Tiger was very young. Just love that. That was wholesome. Finally, let's talk about the enemy. As it turns out, there's someone else behind the scenes manipulating Gohard 66, as Gohard 66 are no longer the main antagonists of this arc. We can tell this because they were told by someone else that the dueling server was kept in Maximum Mountain. Is it a new enemy? Well, at least it could be a new character that's not yet been introduced to us on screen, as the writing on the Gohard 66 note that he held in his hand was very similar to the writing on the Guide to Destroy Rush Duel's booklet that the President Drone and Mimi received in Gohard Corporation. Although a part of me does think that maybe this character is someone that we have seen before throughout the series, as Roman, Gakuto and Rook seem to recognise who this writing on the book belonged to, based on their expressions. And Yuga, like he always does, seems to have some form of knowledge as to who it could possibly be. That line about my best awesome plan to take over Gohar sounds like a typical Roa line, based on the way it's written. However, we know it can't be Roa, so his character is out of the question. And the binocular scene being a clue, couldn't really think much of that if I'm honest, but it did make me think of the freaky fish dude that we saw in previous episodes. But then the question does get raised as to why would he be involved, but honestly, I've got no idea. I just thought that, sometimes fishermen would use binoculars to see quite far to see if it's safe ahead because of the stormy weather conditions. Who knows at this point? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Overall, I thought it was a really good episode, with the comedy being just about okay, but the main highlight of this episode was the emotional aspect and the backstories that got delivered for Tiger and Asana. It's great to see that we're still building up our side characters and cast, as well as the lore of the world within Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. This I find really fascinating and interesting to learn about. So let me know your thoughts about this episode in the comment section down below. I do hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit that like button. But more importantly, I hope you have a wonderful day. Alligator, matane. Goodbye.